Hi, good afternoon, Duy. How are you doing?
Very fine, very fine. It's fantastic.
Amazing, Duy. So thank you very much for coming on board Your Voice, Your Legacy with the Insurance Collective. And it's a pleasure and honor to have you on board all the way from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam.
Okay, so it's also my pleasure to be sharing on the Insurance Collective.
Thank you, Duy. So it's a very unique thing, what we do at the Insurance Collective with Your Voice, Your Legacy. We connect with insurance professionals, pioneers, people who have been in the industry, who would then come about and share their thoughts, values, and actions with the Insurance Collective community. So once again, my warmest welcome to you. And let's start off, Duy. Tell me about yourself. Who is Duy and what do you do?
So a little bit about myself. So I'm Duy. I has been working in the life insurance business for more than 10 years. And as a person, I'm a person who I think loves sport, love outdoor, and love to play sport, outdoor, reading, and sometimes like little of adventure.
Right, adventure, and that is very interesting. And how did you get involved into the insurance industry, Duy?
I think it's quite a coincidence, and I think it's a very great coincidence for me. When come back in university, so I study linguistics. I study English, right? Because in English is not my mother tongue, so I study English interpreter and translation in the university, and then I started off working for one company, like a trading company from Thailand, as the assistant to the managers there. They import some products from Thailand and they distribute to Vietnam. And then I think before that, I still keep my CV on one of the job posting website in Vietnam. And then I find another opportunity to work for a research company in Vietnam. But because my CV was still on the website of one of the leading job posting website in Vietnam. So one day there is a HR from a life insurance company contacting me, right? And they are telling me they are looking for the assistant and also the translator for their CAO, Chief Agency Officer. So I thought of thinking, oh wow, it's big guy, right? He was a big guy in a company, so it must be a very interesting job. So I came to the interview, and then I start as a personal assistant and also the translator for the chief agency officer of one of the company, life insurance company in Vietnam, back to 2010, I believe. Yeah.
That is quite the journey. And how did you get into the current role? Because I know you coach and mentor a lot of financial consultants in Vietnam. So how did you get into this current role where you're working with the young generation of Vietnamese insurance professionals?
I think there is one thing is when I work with when I worked with that like my mentor, he was my mentor, and he taught me a lot. He mentored me a lot. And I think on the first day I began on a job, so there are two things he told me. The first one is he told me he didn't want me to be his assistant forever, right? So he told me that after working with him for 1 year or so, I need to find my career path, right? I need to do something else within the company. And the second thing he told me was that if I was to work in a long term in the insurance business, I need to know how to sell. Whether I like it or not, I need to know how to sell, right? So that is the two things that he put on in his monthly review with me. So he is the one who forced me, who asked me to sell life insurance. and also to explore other area, from training, from planning, from other area within his agency. So it gave me the opportunity to expand my role into other area of the life insurance business, and also forced me to sell. Right? At that time, just young, 20 something years old, and no one wants to sell insurance, right? But then I just see it as an opportunity, right? And I start selling, I start cold calling, and I starting to get some business. So and I feel that okay, what I do was a very worthwhile, right? And the more I understand about the life insurance, the more I think it is the product that very beneficial to the people. Mm-hmm. And then I expand my role into planning, into a sales manager, into some coaching, right? And now I'm into the role of, we can call the MDRT champion. We are working and aspiring the agents and managers to become the MDRT.
That's amazing, and I love the journey that you have taken. You went from a trainee and gone through the process, the entire process of sales, of management, of planning, and now you are in the role of a mentor, Duy. And what do you see right now in terms of the young Vietnamese in the insurance industry? How do you go about your mentorship role in training them towards MDRT?
Actually, I didn't focus. I didn't do much of a mentoring, mm-hmm. And what I do was, I have a team, mm-hmm. of what do we call it? Of part as mentor, part as coach, right? Mm-hmm. And we work with the sales manager. We work with the sales manager, right, and help them to build the MDRT team in their team, right? Mm-hmm. So we can do that by the MDRT workshop, coaching, and part of the mentoring, and also some like a campaign, mm-hmm. right? And some training, some workshops, some incentive, right? So we do a lot of approach to help our agents to be the MDRT.
That's very, very nice. It's very structured. I like the ecosystem that you have put in place, because you need quite a few players and people around to support them, to support the leaders and support the financial consultants as well, to rise up to MDRT. And one question I have for you is, how are the young Vietnamese insurance professionals there? What is their mindset, and what is their motivations to be part of the insurance industry in Vietnam?
I think the first one I want to emphasize that there are a lot of opportunity in the life insurance business and life insurance sector in Vietnam, right? As you know, the life insurance penetration rate in Vietnam is pretty low compared with other neighboring Asian country, right? If you compare it with the Europe or America, it could be far away, but within our region, there are a lot of opportunity there. And currently, we are attracting a lot of young agents and advisors. And I think they are very passionate about this business, but as the fact is that most of them are joining this business part-time, right? So sometimes they just do not spend enough time and effort to be really successful in this business. Because you're working in the life insurance business for a long time, and you know that for the first few policies, an agent usually sells to their family, friends, or acquaintances, right? So we can call that very easy sale, right? Mm-hmm. So after those easy sales, you need to be very disciplined. You need to very action-oriented, activity-oriented to continue to produce consistently, right? And that is the only way to help you success long term in this business. And I think that is a lot of, especially the young insurance agents in Vietnam need to focus on. Right? Now they are just, some of them focus on the long term and they have a success with the insurance industry, right. But also a lot of them are focused on very short term, or I can use another term exactly, is they want to try, right? They want to try, they just want to try. And if they are not successful, like immediately, they will go back to their current job. So I think that is the current situation in Vietnam now. And we are working to driving a change on that.
Right, that's great, Duy. I see it is a very important thing that I've learned from this session with you is sustainability. Right, there is consistency and sustainability, and you're right, those who have spent a few years in the industry, breaking away from their family, friends and acquaintances, once the first few policies are sold, they have that ability to then go through that journey towards MDRT.
Yep.
Right, and how do you address this, Duy, in terms of that sustainability and consistency within the people that you work with, the young Vietnamese agents and the leaders? How do you sort of impart and share this with them, that they have to be consistent, they have to follow a routine in order to reach that level of success?
So I think the first thing is, what I try to do is I'm trying to have them set a certain goal, right? Mm-hmm. Because if without any goal, you can go nowhere, right? So setting a goal is very important. Maybe it's not MDRT, but your goal needs to have a certain level of production. Mm-hmm. Because unless you can achieve a certain level of production, you do not have enough income in the business to care for yourself and your family, right? So the first thing is you need to set a suitable production level that can guarantee you can have the good income for yourself and to support your family.
Yes.
That is the only way you can start full-time in this business, right? And if you don't do anything full-time, it's very difficult for you to be successful, right? And the other thing is, when you already have the goal, you need to break down the goal into activity, mm-hmm. right? You need to break down the goal into activity, because I think we are people, and at some level we have the procrastination, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't break down your goal into doable action, you will procrastinate, right? So that when you have the goal, you need to break down the goal into the actionable activity, mm-hmm. and you need to spread those activities throughout the week, throughout the month, right? Yeah. So if you carry out enough activity, you will get the results, right? And I usually tell the agents that, so the 5 most important job that the agent needs to do is first prospecting. Without prospecting, they do not have new customer, right? The second one they do is approaching. When they have the prospect, they need to know how to approach a certain prospect, right? And the third thing is fact-finding or need analysis. You need to probing, you need to understand the needs of the customer. Right? And then presenting. Yeah, you need to do the presentation and then the closing, right? That is the most, as I see it, they are the most important job of an insurance agent. And if they want to be successful long time in this business, they need to do enough of those activities. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you can have several policy have success in very near future, but to prepare you for the long-term success, you need to carry out those activities consistently to ensure that the success will be continued.
Absolutely right, Duy. I mean, thank you for that. That is something that brings out the lifeblood of our insurance business in terms of sales, right? This consistency, following up and following through with this activity is very critical for the success of the advisors. Now, in this angle here, what would you advise for people who have going through this entire process, who have followed all the 5 steps, but they face something called the advisor burnout. You know, they keep doing the same thing again and again, and then they feel so tired. They feel very unmotivated in their journey towards their goals. What would you suggest that they could do to bring up their momentum?
I think the first of all is one thing they really need to understand is that their level of success is equal the level of activity. Right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, the more activity they have, the more success they will do. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the way they can use to motivate themselves, because only they can motivate themselves, we cannot motivate other people, right? Is we can have something like calculate the value of each of the activity that we do, right? Yeah. For example, in order to close one new case, you need 10 more customers, right? So each of the new customer that you have, and if one case bring you, I don't know, for example, in like $500 in commission, for example, right? Just like for example, one new case bring you $500 in commission. So, and in order to have one new case, you need to have 10 or 12 or 15, whatever the number is, right? You have a certain number of new customers. So each of the new customer you have, regardless whether he want to listen to you, he want to meet with you or anything, each of the new customer you have will value, like if you have 10, you need to have 10 new customer to generate a new policy. And the policy will give you a commission of $500. So each new customer will equal $50 for you. So the value of the activity, right?
I get
and yeah. And for example, if you do the cold calling or the cold canvassing, right? Every questionnaire you fill, for example, 5 questionnaire you fill, you will get one new customer, one new prospect, right? Right. So meaning each of the questionnaire completed will have a dollar value of $10, right? So when you complete a fact-finding or a questionnaire or a questionnaire or whatever you call it, right? It means you already produced $10. So I think somehow we can use that way, or the agent can use that way to feel more motivated. Because in this insurance, in order to get one sale, you might get a lot of rejection, right? Yes. And if you don't have a way to motivate yourself to assign a dollar value to each activity you do, like you said, you will feel burnout, you will feel very demotivated, right?
That's true, Duy. I like that. I like how you have structured the entire process of it. And it's also called the economy of effort. If we put it in a line, right? The effort that you expend and the energy that you expend towards getting that one case or getting that client, working with that client or prospect, it all comes and starts from the foundations as we rise up. And it reaches and creates a value funnel or value chain for each advisor. So
I also very like the idea, I don't know, of a very famous speaker. I forget his name, but something he shared is that if we know what we want and we know the price for what we want, so the quicker we pay the price, right? The quicker you get what you want. So if I know that in order to generate one new policy, I need to have 10 new customers. So the quicker I get 10 new customers, the quicker I can get one policy, right? And the quicker I can get the commission. So I don't care how many new one say no to me, right? I still keeping on until I get the 10 new customer. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I think that's the importance of it all in our insurance business, that we have to keep on moving forward, forge forward. There are going to be rejections. There are going to be objections that come our way. And I think you have nailed it right. to keep moving straight, to do as much as you can. It doesn't matter how many no's you get. It's to that point where you get that yes. And that is, in itself, it's going to be motivating. Once you have broken that cycle of rejections and objections, you get yourself into the activity, it becomes a rhythm for you. You get used to that cycle and you flow with that cycle very well. Thank you for that, that insight as well, Dwi. So to end off, I would like to ask your thoughts. What would you like to share, a value that, or a line that you like to share to the young and upcoming insurance advisors in Vietnam that would really motivate them in this period and rise up to the challenge as well?
I think that there is three things in general. First, as I mentioned previously, the potential of the life insurance sector in Vietnam is very huge, right? Now, the penetration, I believe, is around the 2%, meaning we take the life insurance premium and compare to our GDP, I think it's less than 2%. So lower than other neighboring countries. So we can see a very huge potential there. The second thing, if we look at the percentage of the Vietnamese people who has a life insurance, so it's just around less than 10 people out of 100 people have life insurance. So that would be very low, and the opportunity that you will meet somebody out there without life insurance is very big, right? And another thing I want to share is the protection gap. The protection gap, meaning the Vietnamese people are underinsured. If something happened to them, the payout would not be sufficient for them to as they expected. So that is something that gives us a lot of opportunity, right? And but in order to be successful here, I think, as I say, people need to be very serious about this. If they want to be successful, they need to study, they need to find out as much information as about this business, about this job before they're going in. And when they're going in, I believe they need to go in all in, right?
Yes.
They just not try, you get all in, because if you are the top people in any field, you will earn a top income, right? Regardless of any field that you are in. And if you are part-time in any field, you cannot be the top people in that field, right?
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Dwi. I think that it's been such an insightful session with you. You have broken down your journey of how you got into it, and you've pretty much highlighted how a young advisor or an existing advisor, even people who want to come into the industry, can take a look at this career as a all hands on deck, all in with their chips, and with 100% focus and dedication, they can become successful in the insurance business. So once again, Dwi, thank you so much for your time. And I truly appreciate the efforts that you're putting in.
Yeah.
For the
and
industry.
I think just before we conclude our session, I think there is one thing I want to share, that if you look at the demographics of the Vietnamese household, you will see a lot of, now we are shifting to quite a lot of young people, and they are generating a lot of income, right? And when you are a young advisor, you can target that group of, you have more connection, more connection with this group of people, very young people, dynamic people, and they are producing very good, right? They are earning a very good income. So that also be a huge opportunity for the young advisors who want to join this business.
That's true, Dwi. I think you have put it very, very clear that there is always a point of which the potential, the opportunity for growth in the insurance industry, especially in Vietnam, with such a young population, a young and dynamic population, I think the sky is the limit for them to be successful in this field. So, well, thank you so much, Ree, for your session. And once again, your voice, your legacy, where we connect with our professionals and peers and colleagues in the insurance industry. We are very grateful from the Insurance Collective to have you on board. So once again, have a wonderful weekend. Take care, and we will speak again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me, and hope to speak to you soon. Yep.